blue sign with an arrow. This means you must go ahead. Here in the United States, this would be a guide sign. Guide signs are blue and white or green and white. They give you information. Next sign. This is a blue sign with a P. This stands for parking. You can park here. Different signs are relative to different states and different provinces. It just depends on where you're from and where you live. In the UK, it might be a different color. In Canada, it might be a different color. In Australia. So it really depends on where you live and how the municipality decides to have your sign. A upside down triangle. This means you must give way. You must yield. A lot of beginners mix up yield signs and stop signs. Red is a regulatory, it means action, it means danger. So a stop sign is a red sign with white letters. A yield sign is also a red sign and an upside down triangle. So you can see where people mix this up. So you really got to understand signs. So yield means give way to the person who has the right of way. The right of way is given. This obviously is a blue sign with a bicycle. So this means cyclists can enter. If there was a circle and a line through it, means they can't enter. You need to know signs. You need to know pavement markings. So this is a little quick summary. This means you must not enter. You'll see the red sign with the line through the middle, do not enter. If you're going the wrong way on an expressway or a one-way, you will see this sign. Usually it's when people are really tired, they're not paying attention, and then they end up turning on the on-ramp to the expressway, but really it is the off-ramp. So that can be extremely dangerous to you learning. So I'm going to go ahead and all right. So we're talking about signs here. Let's go on to the next one. So you have a pedestrian walking and a red circle with a line through. This means pedestrians must not enter. There's some areas where pedestrians, we don't want them to walk. This could be maybe a limited access road where people are driving higher speeds. So it doesn't matter what country you're from or where you're from. Usually the circle with the line through means prohibited. You can't do that. So you have to know what that sign means by the color and shape. Obviously, this is the stop sign. It's a red sign with stop, S-T-O-P. You have to stop for a minimum of 3 seconds, 1001, 1002, and 1003. You look left, you look right, then you proceed if it's clear. This one is pedestrians you must give the right of way to pedestrians. So you have a crosswalk where pedestrians are supposed to walk. Now, if there's no sidewalk, pedestrians can walk against the flow of traffic so they can be seen. Okay, thank you. Let me go ahead and try this. If there's no crosswalk, pedestrians walk toward the flow of traffic. If there is a sidewalk, then they must walk on the sidewalk. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and so that is. There's also some other information. Pedestrians should be walking where they're visible. They shouldn't be walking on the side of the street or on the side of the road. Unfortunately, a lot of pedestrians do. So it's up to us as drivers to be a defensive driver. This means you're looking left, you're looking right, you're watching out for traffic. It's no excuse to ever hit a pedestrian because they always have the right of way. And most of the laws written in the United States and around the world are for the right of ways of pedestrians because they are the most vulnerable road users. I want to quickly talk about bikes. You want to treat a bike, they have a right to a portion of the lane. Usually it's about 3 feet. Bicyclists should be signaling. This means right turn. This means left, straight out. They should be wearing a helmet. They should have a white light on in the front and a blinking red on the back. Bicyclists should be riding with the flow of the traffic. They shouldn't be riding against it. So we see cyclists riding against the flow of the traffic, and really they could be hit because they're going 15, 20, 30 miles an hour. And we as drivers underestimate how fast they drive. So we have to be the defensive driver. And the laws are written, if you strike a pedestrian or bicyclist, the law's in their favor. Well, they were walking the wrong way, you struck them. Or they walked out when they had a green, you struck them. So the judge does not want to hear that. Ignorance adds no excuse, and you can't use that excuse in the courtroom because the laws are written to protect. Now, here's some more information about bicyclists. When a bicyclist is riding, they need to be signaling their intention. We have a job too as motorists, and that job is to look out for a bicyclist. A lot of metropolitan areas are now doing an open air design where the dining areas out toward the street, they're shrinking one lane and allowing bicyclists to have that bicycle lane. You cannot cross that lane. If you do, you're breaking the law. And it's the bike lane. Now, a bicyclist was struck about a month ago, so obviously we want to give our condolences. The bicyclist was not killed, but we need to be aware. And if you're making a right turn, you have to look. You come up, you look left, you look right. A lot of people are not looking to the right. And if they're not looking to the right, what's going to end up happening is called the right hook. And a right hook is when you are riding your bike and a motorist is making a right turn in front of you. So when you guys are riding your bike, you need to make eye contact with drivers. Make eye contact with drivers. If you're not making eye contact with drivers, you're probably going to get hit. You're probably going to get killed. It's also dangerous to ride your bike on the sidewalk because you have pedestrians come in. If you're on a bike, and a lot of people are doing those e-bikes now, okay? People were 60, 70, 80, 90. Those bikes cost $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. They're buying those e-bikes, and they're moving at 35 or 40 miles an hour on the sidewalk, and that's really dangerous. You really should have a helmet on. And I know you've seen those unicycles where people buy this round wheel, and they're moving like 25 or 30 miles an hour. I don't have balance like that. I can still balance. But you as a driver, if you're making a right turn, you need to look left, check to your left, you need to look to the right, and always look in the direction you're going. If you don't look, you're going to kill a bicyclist. That's called the right hook. Now, if you're making a left turn, you come up to the middle of the intersection, you look to the left. If you don't look, a bicyclist is going the opposite way, you make the left turn, that's the left cross. So there's the right hook, there's the left cross, okay? Bicyclists should not be running red lights because if they do and a light is green, you know what's going to happen. The bicyclist is going to lose and we're going to have a fatality. So bicyclists, say that real fast. Bicyclists should be following the traffic codes. The light's yellow, they should be slowing down because sometimes people jump those yellow green lights, and then what's going to happen, you're going to have a bicyclist killed. So you really got to be looking out for bicyclists on the road, and same thing with pedestrians. They have the right of way, so if the crosswalk is starting to flash, some pedestrians will start walking on in front of you, and then you're going to have a problem. If you strike one of them, you're going to end up going to jail, and you won't be feeling good about your choice because you decided, hey, I got the light. That old man is walking. I'll pretend like I didn't see him. You just hit a pedestrian and they broke their pelvis. Also, over 20 miles an hour, there's a mathematical formula that was figured out by some engineers. The faster you drive, about over 25 or 30, someone will die. Usually a pedestrian or bicyclist can survive a crash 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, 15 to 20. Now we're looking at someone dying as opposed to someone with a broken elbow, a broken back, a broken pelvis. Okay, so it's really serious that all of you understand that. Things are good. I need you to put in one question you learned, put in something you learned, put in a question you have from the Quizzy, right? Put in a question, put something you learned, I understand the situation about bicyclists. It is, and they should be wearing a helmet. If you're riding a bike, seriously, wear a helmet. Okay, that's if you, well, I can't afford a helmet. Well, I guess you can't afford to have a hospital bill, right? And there's some serious cyclists out here who have carbon fiber bikes, right? They spent $2,000 on their bike, but they don't have a helmet on. That's not smart, right? Mountain bikes, they're fun. So the train always has the right of way. Again, the train always has the right of way. When you're coming up to a railroad track, the way our code is written, you need to look left, you need to look right. Why do you think school buses stop? State law. Why do you think hazardous material carriers, semi-truck drivers carrying gasoline, other chemicals, they have to stop, put on the four ways, and look to the left and look to the right? Car train accidents do happen. Car truck accidents do happen. And 99% of the time, I'm sorry, 100% of the time, the train always has the right of way. I think people get in a hurry. They're too much, hey, I got to go fast. I got to get home. You're going to end up running lights. The number one reason why people speed is because they are late. Leave earlier. Know your route. Wake up 5 or 10 minutes earlier. I went through that. You're going to go through it. Just wake up early. You can't take all your friends to school. You can't take all your friends to the rec center. They're going to have to get there because they're not paying gas. Okay, you got to go across town to pick up John. Then you got to go down to the metro area to pick up Sam. And then you got to take them back. And you got to be back home by 5. It's not going to happen. So you guys got to think, I got my license now. I can pick up the whole world. No, you can't pick up the whole world. The whole world doesn't care about you. The whole world is not paying attention. The whole world will distract you. The number one reason why younger drivers are distracted is because there are more passengers in the car than they're legally required. And that's going to happen to all of you because it takes 10 years if you're 16, 26. If you're 17, 27. If you're 15, 25. You need to remember some of these things because you're going to see it on your test. I'm giving you real life information. Your brains take about 10 years to fully develop. Okay, if you're 16, 26, 15, 25. So you're learning how to drive. You're learning how to drive at night. You're learning how to drive in the snow. You're learning how to drive in the rain. You're learning how to drive in downtown Detroit, downtown Houston, Texas, downtown. Every downtown area has different dangers, different risk, and different rewards. Okay, downtown driving is different than driving in suburban areas. Suburban areas is different than driving in rural dirt roads. So there's so much that you're going to learn here. You really need to be taking notes and methodically thinking about what am I saying to you, and then we're going to elevate and just make you learn. We will not be able to cover the pre-test tonight because I want to take the time in a few minutes to schedule some of you, and we'll do that the next session. I'm taking the time. I learned that yield signs, you must yield a right of way. Thank you. Yield a right of way means you just pause for a second. You look. If you have a sign in front of you and across the other intersection does not, we have to yield. A lot of people are very casual, particularly in neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are the most dangerous place. We're going to be starting in neighborhoods. People don't stop at stop signs. They don't yield. Someone's going to get killed. Build good habits right now so you can be a good driver. But many of you aren't listening to me. Many of you don't care. Many of you just think about, when am I going to drive? But you got to go through all these little things. You got to jump through all these hoops. You got to take a state test. You got to be driving with a certified instructor. Then when you're 16 or 17, you're going to have to take your driving test. A lot of people are waiting till they're 18. Costs too much money. So you really need to be taking advantage of an instructor, asking him or her questions. And I'm very social. And I really want a lot out of you because I want you to be good drivers. Trains can't stop. It's like an optical illusion. The train looks further than it is, but really it's closer. And you'll see people running the gate. In a lot of areas, in our location in the United States, they don't have gates. Okay, so now you're really in danger. And so we talked about signs, road signs, yield. That's a pretty good chunk. Hold on one second. I'm just trying to bring you value, and I want to see you learn. But many of you are not paying attention. I need you to learn and do your best. Bye.